Hey, today I want to share with you the best advice I have ever been given. And I'm going to give you the advice and then I'll give you the background behind it because it's kind of funny. So, the best advice I have ever been given in my entire life was shake the ketchup before you use it. And that's really profound if you think about it, because if you don't shake the ketchup before you use it, you get that weird watery stuff on the top of it, and it's all over your plate, and it's no good for anything. So shake the ketchup before you use it. So why do I tell? What's the backstory behind that? Because there has to be a reason that this is the best advice I've been given, and there is. This advice I got 15 years ago, roughly 15 years ago, when I was a brand new missionary. A little over 15 years ago, when I was a brand new missionary, and I was on exchanges with the zone leaders. I was on exchanges with Elder Tibbetts. And Elder Tibbetts was somebody I really looked up to. You know, he was one of the assistants to the president when I came on my mission. That exact transfer was his last, those was his last like 2 or 3 days, when he picked us up, or the last day as an assistant. Then he went back to being his own leader for his last transfer or two. And so he and I were on exchanges. I was fortunate enough that he was my zone leader, which was really cool. And I looked up to him. And we were in their apartment, his apartment and his companion's apartment. We were having lunch while we were on exchanges. And I was eating, taquitos or corn dog or something that missionaries eat. And I was putting ketchup on my plate. And as we were sitting there, I said, "So Elder Tibbetts, what advice do you have for me as a new missionary?" And I was expecting something really profound, right? I mean, he was an assistant to the president. I really looked up to him. And as I was asking him that, I was putting ketchup on my plate. And because I was asking him, I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't think to shake the ketchup. And so I got that watery ketchup on my plate. And he looked at me, he kind of smiled, and he said, "Shake the ketchup before you use it." So that is the advice I always remember. Shake the ketchup before you use it. And I tell you that in jest, a little bit tongue in cheek, but 15 years later, that's the advice I always go back to. Anytime anybody asks me, "What's the best advice you've ever been given?" I always smile and say, "Shake the ketchup before you use it." And then I go back and I tell that story. And I say, here's the backstory behind that. And it's funny, and it's a humorous story, and it's fun to tell, but there's something to it, because 15 years later, I still remember that statement. I still remember exactly where I was sitting and where he was sitting, and the scene around it when he gave me that advice. And I think the best advice we get in our lives really does come down to that. It really does come down to, it's something that's so profound in some way or another that we don't forget it. We don't forget it. And it always comes back to us. And it's, to shake the ketchup before you use it, does that help me to be a better business owner? I don't know, maybe. Does it help me be a better leader in the church? I don't know, maybe. I guess it depends if you're at a potluck or not. Not necessarily, but I remember it. I never forget it. So now that I've told you that, I want to tell you another piece of advice that I've been given. And this is probably one of the most profound pieces of advice that I've gotten. As far as like a serious piece of best advice, this is the one. So when I was called to serve as bishop, I was pretty young as far as being called as a bishop is concerned. At least that's what everybody told me. I don't think it's as uncommon as people think it is. But I was 29. And I was overwhelmed. I was terrified. Here I am, 29 years old. I had 2 young kids. I still felt like a kid in the gospel. I'm only 29. I joined the church at 18, so I didn't feel like I was old enough. I didn't feel like I was prepared or worthy enough. Well, not really worthy enough, but prepared enough or wise enough or knew enough in the gospel. I didn't feel like I was ready. And because I'm a convert, I couldn't call my dad and ask him about it, or my grandpa or my uncles or anything. So the only people I had to reach out to, and this is the person that I always reach out to anytime I have questions or I need support or feedback or advice in the gospel, I reached out to my mission president. I called President Mullen. And I said, "President," "I just got called to be bishop in my ward, and I'm terrified." I said, "I don't feel like I'm old enough. I don't feel like this isn't something that somebody at my age does. Like, bishops are older and wiser, and they know more, and they're better leaders and all of these things." I said, "What do I do? What advice do you have for me?" Kind of the same thing, except for I wasn't putting ketchup on a plate as I was talking to him. Otherwise, he might have given me the same advice. I don't know. I mean, he was my mission president. Elder Tibbetts was in the mission. Maybe he would have given me that same advice. But I remember we were on the phone, and President Mullen just said to me, he said, "Elder, welcome to church leadership."
And his point was, I told him, I said, I don't feel like I'm ready. I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like I'm a good enough leader. I don't feel like I'm good enough in the gospel. I don't feel like I have enough experience. And all he said to me was, welcome to church leadership. And I really think that could be expanded to welcome to leadership. Because whether it's in the gospel, whether it's a church calling that we receive, whether it's in business, I don't think we ever feel quite ready for what we're doing. I don't think we're quite, like, it's outside our comfort zone, whatever it is. We're always, whenever we have a new opportunity, whenever we have a new responsibility, we're not quite ready for it. It's outside our comfort zone. It causes us to have to stretch and to grow and to develop. We have to stretch to fill in, the things that are needed to fulfill that calling, or to build our business and grow our business to that next level, or our department, or whatever it is. We're going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be outside our comfort zone. Growth happens outside our comfort zone. And that's as true in the church and church callings and church service as it is in the business world. Growth happens outside our comfort zone. And I really think that's what President Mullen was teaching me. He was teaching me that growth happens outside my comfort zone. And I'm never going to be comfortable. I'm never going to be 100% comfortable with any calling I get. And on the business side, I'm never going to be 100% comfortable with the next step in my business. I've had to recently, I've let go of some clients, and my business is changing and molding, and now I'm adding in mastermind groups and helping Latter-day Saint business owners meet together with other business owners in order to support each other. And that's a new part of my business, and I don't feel comfortable with it. It terrifies me a little bit, but I know it's what I'm supposed to do. And I come back to that advice from President Mullen over and over again. Welcome to church leadership. Welcome to leadership. You're never going to be comfortable. If you're growing, if you're making an impact, if you're making a difference, if you're serving in the way that you need to serve, you're never going to be comfortable. And so that's the best advice I've been given. Aside from shake the ketchup before you use it, aside from that, that is the best advice I've ever been given. Welcome to church leadership. Be okay with being uncomfortable. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. Understand that growth happens outside your comfort zone. I really think that's what he was teaching me, and that's what I'll share with you today. Be okay with being uncomfortable. Accept, embrace being uncomfortable, because that uncomfort is where success is going to happen. Whether it's in a new calling that you receive at church, whether it's in a new direction in your business, or a new income stream, or having to find a new way to do things because of COVID or whatever else is going on. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. So be okay with being uncomfortable. So that's my advice for you today. I also want to know, let me know in the comments, what's the best advice you've ever been given, either in church leadership and service or in business? What's the best advice you've ever been given? And let's share that with each other in the comments so that we can support and encourage and uplift each other.